At 6, still talking big winds. How much longer do we have to blow through the state? We have that answer coming up.
I'm Kaylee Collins in Old Saybrook this morning with a breakdown of a new report that details why the police department here has struggled with officer retention for years.
Portland's Board of Selectmen have appointed a new first selectman. I'm Kate Pattyfoot, and coming up, hear what he hopes to bring to town.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, 6 o'clock. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 61. I'm Tim Lammers.
And I'm Symphony Privet. We hope you're having a great start to your Thursday, a.k.a. Friday Eve, as we inch closer to the end of the work week. Let's check in with meteorologist Matt Scott. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Not much change.
Yeah.
Which is not great because the forecast has been a little less than stellar. However, we do see changes on the horizon. So we've been talking about how this is going to be the third of 3 very windy days, and we are definitely sticking to that. That said, it is still cold. It is still windy. The worst of the winds today, wind gusts getting up there. We have some light snow that we're still watching to the south for the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up. Wind advisory now in effect for the entire state. I said this was going to happen. Yesterday it was just up in the Litchfield Hills. Everybody under advised weather patterns to say, hey, this is going to be brutal out there. Satellite radar picture has a few clouds. Other than that, it's the same old story. A little bit of lake effect holding together just west of the Berkshires, not quite into the Catskills. 24 in Hartford, 25 New Haven, 22 in Groton. Look at the sustained winds between about 15, 10 in Bridgeport, okay. 15 and 20 miles an hour, but the wind gusts going much higher than that. So your real feel right now at 1 in Torrington, 6 in Putnam and New Milford. Temperatures not warming up today, only getting to a dozen like it's been. Talk about the change, the warmer numbers, and when there may be a little snow to talk about. That's all coming up. 6:02, we say good morning for the first time, or I do at the very least, to Rachel Piscatelli. Good morning.
Good morning, Matt. Good to see you on this Wednesday? Thursday.
Today
is Thursday.
Wow.
Look at that.
Don't make us do another one.
No. Well, yesterday I thought it was Thursday. I'm all sorts of confused here. So, okay, well, on this Thursday morning commute, things are looking good across the state here. Any road work has wrapped up already in the 5 o'clock hour. So by 6:02, we are looking good. Route 2 in East Hartford, 91 in Hartford, just out by exits 32A and B. Madison had some earlier road work on 95. That is cleared. Volume is light on 95 in New Haven as well as along Madison. So your drive times to your state lines this morning, New Haven to Rhode Island, is just a little over an hour. We're under it as you head from New Haven to New York. Tim and Symphony, good morning.
Alrighty, thank you, Rachel. 6:03 now, an independent research firm hired by the town of Old Saybrook has released its findings on how the police department can address low officer retention.
Yeah, that firm has provided dozens of recommendations and has also identified some concerns from the officers themselves. Fox 61's Kaylee Collins has been going through that 96-page report. She joins us now live in Old Saybrook. Kaylee, what's in there?
Tim and Symphony, it's a pretty lengthy report, like you said, 96 pages, but it details some of the issues leading to that officer retention issue here at the police department. Also, the recommendations moving forward as to how the police department and the town overall can address this. The town of Old Saybrook had hired this outside firm to look into that officer retention issue, along with other concerns within the department that have been going on for several years now. Now, the name of that independent research company was the Police Executive Research Forum. There had been a push by the community members to look into the department's culture and staffing here for years now, but the referendum approving an outside study wasn't passed until late January of 2024. And as a result of this study, that independent firm made 31 recommendations to the department after finding that most officers leave the Old Saybrook Police Department because of the unpleasant work environment, and some officers even took pay cuts to leave the department here for other law enforcement agencies. That's directly from this report. Other findings include complaints about excessive overtime, difficulties taking leave, unnecessary report writing, double standards between officer expectations versus their leaders, and verbal abuse and intimidation. Again, this is what the officers told those who were interviewing them for this study. Now, the recommendations to address these issues include a review of employee exit interviews conducted by an outside entity, and for the police department to consider those comments made by officers, recommendation to limit overtime, to create a clear general order of employee expectations, publish officers' work schedules every 6 months, that's shortly after they submit their shift preferences, and create a professional development program for officers. There were several other recommendations as well. Like I said, we're still going through this report this morning. In the past, the police chief, Michael Spera, has said that the department was losing officers to other departments simply because of pay and benefits, but this report does detail plenty of other reasons for them wanting to explore other law enforcement agencies as well. We are working this morning to learn how the police chief has responded along with town officials to this report. We are working to get those documents to you. We do know that there's going to be a virtual meeting held later this evening at 5 o'clock. It is open to the public, and we will be putting that information up on our website if you have any interest in tuning in to see what they have to say about this report. We'll be continuing to sift through the document this morning and keep you updated on what else we can find. For now, we're live in Old Saybrook. Kaylee Collins, Fox 61 News.
Kaylee, thank you. Stay warm, get inside. Speaking of, a lot of people across the state are paying close attention to the homeless population on frigid days like this.
Yeah, and there isn't a better example of that than in Waterbury. Fox 61's Stephen Reels was there last night as the temperatures dropped.
I'm currently standing here in Waterbury, where there are currently 4 different warming shelter options where people can escape those brisk and harsh New England winters. But once that severe weather protocol ends on Friday, some of them will have to close. But thanks to a little help from the community, the Center for Human Development will be able to stay open for the entire season.
Up until now, the center has only been open during the daytime hours, but the mission resonated with Jared Bruzis and the team at the United Way of Greater Waterbury. This year, the nonprofit donated $20,000 to CHD to keep it open 24/7 during the winter months, an amount then matched by the Housing Collective and then the city of Waterbury itself. Like the rest of the state, Mayor Paul Perner-Ruski said the issue has continued to increase post-pandemic. With more evictions and less homes available, homelessness has peaked in places like Waterbury.
The shelters that we've had in the city have been able to handle it. This winter, we seem to have an influx of people who have some need.
And now that state leaders are back at the state capitol in Hartford, we're going to be seeing groups like the Connecticut Coalition to End Homelessness ask them to take this issue more seriously. In fact, that coalition itself is planning to ask state leaders to invest more than $30 million into creating a strategic plan to help those who are experiencing homelessness in the state. But for now, in Waterbury, Stephen Reels, Fox 61.
Oh, there is a transition going on in Portland. The town has appointed a new first selectman in the wake of Sean Manning's death. The beloved firefighter was set to take over at the beginning of the year. Fox 61's Kate Pattyfoot has more on the new selectman.
Michael Pelton is Portland's new first selectman. The town board of selectmen voted 4-2 to appoint him to replace their former first selectman. Now, this move comes following tragedy in town after the death of a firefighter who was set to take on that role.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
On Wednesday evening, Michael Pelton was sworn in as Portland's new first selectman after what has been tough times as of late for the town.
It's been an emotional roller coaster for the town, for the people that were there that night, for everything. So it's been a lot of emotions. So I'm glad that we came together tonight and we're able to work together, get this resolved, and I'm just anxious to get to work.
Sean Manning, a local firefighter in Portland and a town selectman, was set to take on the role, but he died in December after he was hit by a truck.
The night, actually, we were due to meet in this building. It happened right in front of this building, and unfortunately, all of us Board of Selectmen members were there when it happened. It was terrible. It was like a tragedy that you can't even write it in a book.
The board voted Wednesday 4-2 to appoint Pelton to the new role after serving 2 terms as selectman.
Michael has been on the board with me. I'm excited to work with him in another capacity on the same board.
Pelton says he's excited to hit the ground running.
We just have a lot of things going on in town, and I have had a business in town for a number of years, so I deal with families all the time. I teach their kids, I coach the track team in town, so I have a good handle on what they're looking for, and I think making our town the best town in Portland for a family to be raised, for a business to go to, That's what we're working on. So it's all those different areas, but we want to start working on that as quickly as we can.
Pelton tells me he's excited and grateful to get working and can't wait to see how Portland will continue to grow. In Portland, Kate Pattyfoot, Fox 61 News.
Kay, thank you. In Los Angeles County, this is one of the worst case scenarios they've feared for years, and it is still getting worse. 5 people have died, thousands of buildings have burned, and hundreds of thousands of people are currently trying to scramble to safety to escape wildfires. Ironically, that's causing unprecedented gridlock on the roads. Yesterday, 2 more fires started in the area. So right now, at least 5 wildfires are burning out of control. The biggest is the Palisades fire that has burned more than 17,000 acres and has destroyed whole sections of Pacific Palisades and of Malibu, California. And the hurricane-force wind gusts that are fueling these fires are expected to continue today. Crews are doing what they can to contain them. Power has been cut to stop the electrical system from igniting. People who haven't already evacuated are being told to conserve and boil their water. President Joe Biden just canceled a trip to Italy to come back and focus on these fires. He's already approved a major disaster declaration to get help where it is needed most. We will follow this all morning. Well, thousands of mourners continue to pay tribute to former President Jimmy Carter as he lies in state at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. That rotunda will remain open to the public for another hour or so, and then Carter's casket will be brought to the National Cathedral for a funeral. All 5 living presidents are expected to attend that service, coming together for the first time since George H.W. Bush's death in 2018. We'll have live coverage of the funeral beginning in our 9 a.m. hour on Fox 61 and streaming on Fox 61 Plus. And you can also stream that funeral live on our website, fox61.com. Now, right here, this is the full schedule of events for the rest of the day. Carter's state funeral at the National Cathedral will start at 10 o'clock this morning. His body then will be flown back to his home state of Georgia, where he'll be laid to rest this afternoon. We'll have live coverage, again, of the president's funeral and the events leading up to it right here on Fox 61 starting at 9 this morning.